Right. Good day to all of you. My name is Srivatsava. As all the speakers have come, without any further delay, I would start this session. At the outset, I hope you and your family are in good health and are safe. Please do take care of yourself. Cashewinformation.com is very happy to present this series called Trade Talk. In this, we intend covering all the leading origins of cashew, starting with Africa. This is the first in the series of trade talks. Today, we will cover Benin and Burkina Faso 2021 cashew season. The format is, from each country, we will have two speakers. One would speak on the cashew processing in that country, and the other speaker would give us information about the raw cashew trade side. Today we have three distinguished speakers. So we will start with Benin first, and I would invite the first speaker for the day, Mr. Jace Rabe, who is the president of Tolaro Global Benin. Before I request him to speak, a brief introduction about Mr. Jace Rabe. We were very fortunate to have him at the World Cashew Conference in February, and it is a delight to listening to him and his initiatives on the sustainability side on that time. Once again, on behalf of all of you, I welcome Mr. Jace Rabe. Mr. Jace Rabe passionately creates international businesses that impact people and the communities in which he serves. He shares the business philosophy of Henry Ford, who said, "A business that only makes money is a poor business." His approach to business is to cast vision, explain the why, develop people, and give them opportunities to empower others. He loves God, loves people, and desires to use his ventures to serve both. Currently, as I said before, Mr. Jace Rabe is the president of Tolaro Global, a cashew processor in Benin, West Africa, and president of Universal Commodities, a US-based brokerage firm. He divides his time between the USA and Benin with his awesome wife and their 4 children. With this introduction, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jace Rabe. Over to you, sir. Please let us know about what's happening on the processing in Benin.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you for, first off, giving me the opportunity to speak. I always enjoy how great of a platform Cashew Info is. You guys really do an outstanding job covering the global cashew market. So thank you again for the opportunity. Cashew processing here in Benin is alive and well. What we've seen over the last few years is we've really seen a few dominant cashew processing facilities in Benin take hold, and we've seen several smaller processors drift away. I think that's a combination of lack of financing, RCM financing, lack of working capital, lack of sales. COVID, as we well know, has taken everybody by surprise and has followed suit on hurting some of the processing here in Benin. But overall, there are 3 or 4 main players here in Benin that are all processing this year. The season started a little bit later than planned, I think, for nearly every processor. Financing, I can speak for Tolaro, but have a pretty good idea of financing opportunities, or rather challenges for the other processors as well. We're we're definitely not out of the woods yet on both on COVID-19 cases. I mean, as India is being ravaged right now. But that's also played into access to financing. Banks, the bank's appetite for financing the sector. So a lot of financing for a lot of processors here in Benin has come later than planned. It's worked out okay, frankly, because we've seen very limited activity on the ground for RCN trading and buying. We've seen a lot less activity from the Vietnamese. If you look at Vietnam, again, they're having similar troubles with access to financing, et cetera. So the market is definitely is higher than I think it should be on the RCN farm gate prices. But from a quality standpoint, we've been very pleased thus far. We started cracking new crop in February and have ramped up with both our buying and our processing through the months. We should be at full capacity by mid-June. We should be processing full capacity by mid-June. So I'm not sure. That's a very high level of what's going on in Benin. I'm not sure if there's questions coming or if I can address something very specific that the audience is interested in from a processing side in Benin.
A couple of questions which I wanted you to probably give your thoughts on. Can you share some information on the demand side? Especially you are a big player in the US. So kernel demand in the US, can you give some scenario on that?
Yes. So what we're actually starting to see demand pick up more. You had a lot of there's been little demand activity for the last few months, both in the US and Europe, because I think that a lot of importers are trying to work through stocks. But we're starting to see more and more demand out of Europe and the US, which is interesting to note. We've seen more demand in the last 2 months on broken grades, LWP and splits, than I've seen, frankly, in the previous probably 2 years. I think that pricing on splits and LWP, especially out of Vietnam, is very attractive, and you're seeing a lot of US buyers who are re-engaging their research and development, their formulations and their mixes using cashews, including more LWP and splits. So we've seen in the last few months, I've seen a much larger demand on splits and large pieces and other broken grades, whereas for the last few years, it seems like the trend has been centered mainly on W320 and W240. So that's a trend that's definitely exciting to see from a processing standpoint. I know most processors in the world are having a tough their broken grade.
Yeah. Do you see also prices increasing on the splits and the brokens, because we saw the differentials widening too much last year, almost throughout the year? But do you see some changes in the differentials?
I think you're starting to see that. I mean, again, and you rightly said it, I think the reason we're seeing a big increase in demand on these grades are because the pricing differential is so large, right? And the LWP and split prices are very low comparatively. But we are seeing those prices moving up. And I think that as demand continues, we should see those move up. I'm not sure that we'll see those prices move between whole grades and brokens, but I definitely think it's good news for processors as demand has increased, and we are starting to see prices move up slightly. Hopefully that's a trend that continues.
On the wholes, also we had seen some price increase. There, you don't see any change in the demand. The demand continues to be the same, because in the last 2 months, the Vietnam kernel prices, which is the benchmark, holds actually, like, they have gone up from somewhere around 270. Today, the average is around 310, 320 for W320. Is the demand stable at these prices?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, listen, at 260, I mean, that's incredibly undervalued. And I think buyers even realize that, right? Because on the store shelves, you weren't seeing a big price decrease on cashews, right? So when prices were at, even when W320s got down to 240, we were still seeing the same prices on the store shelves in the United States. So I think buyers knew that the prices out of Vietnam as the benchmark were very undervalued. They were taking advantage of a lot of disruptions in the market, a lot of uncertainty with COVID. But as those prices have moved up, I have not seen any resistance from buyers really trying to push back on that. I mean, I think, honestly, I don't think they want to admit it, but they know that the market has to move back up. The levels that we're trading are not sustainable for the cashew industry. I think that frankly, my personal opinion, I think pricing will continue to move up until we hit somewhere around the 340, 350 mark, is my personal opinion. And then I think that's a win for everybody. And I think buyers in the US and Europe will pay that.
I think so, because that's also been the general consensus, like, given the current raw net prices, around 340, 350 levels is more a balanced level, which creates like sustainability as well. Any comments, quick comments on Europe before I wait for the audience questions?
Europe is a little more resistant to pricing increases than the US is currently. Although I think that while global freight is a headache for everybody, it's actually playing to the advantage of the cashew market right now, because access to containers from Vietnam into Europe is very, very difficult. Container pricing and freight is putting a per pound price into Europe at a very, very high level. I mean, I'm seeing anywhere from 15, 18 cents a pound when you factor out freight that you're able to get out of Vietnam. So I think that's forcing the Europeans to accept the pricing. They don't have much of a choice. So I think actually global freight increases and challenges have worked well for the cashew industry to push Europeans into accepting some higher prices. I'm very bullish for the remaining of the 6 months of this year. I'm very bullish on pricing and demand. I think we're seeing the bottom. I don't see any reason for the market to come off. I see the market going up, and hopefully that brings some stability to the cashew industry globally.
Excellent, sir. Thank you so much for a very encouraging opening session, I would say. Please stay on. We have two other speakers, and I will wait for questions from the delegates. We have 247 in the last count registered. They're slowly trickling in, and I'm sure they would have many questions on the kernel markets as well as processing in Benin. Thank you so much. Please stay with us.
We'll do it. Thank you.
Yes. That was a very interesting observation by Mr. J. Rabe on the current status of processing in Benin, as well as opportunities for kernels, both wholes as well as splits and brokens. He is very positive about the demand growth going forward. And he's also highlighted the financing challenges which cashew processors continue to face. We will now move to the next speaker, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Prajapati. He would give us an overview about the raw cashew trade in Benin in 2021 so far. Before I request him to share his thought, a short introduction about Mr. Sanjay Kumar Prajapati. He's a very young, dashing entrepreneur with big dreams. He's a mechanical engineer by qualification. He started Akshar Cashew Industries and Lakshmi International in 2008. and he's into both raw nut sourcing from origins, not only Benin, but almost entire West Africa, plus Tanzania and Mozambique from East Africa. As well as he runs a very successful cashew processing industry in the state of Gujarat, India. He has got an excellent team to support him, and he in turns inspires the team to dream big. Today, he is going to talk to us about how was the season, the cashew 2021 season, raw cashew 2021 season in Benin. Over to you, Mr. Sanjay.
Hello, good day to all of you. Myself Sanjay Prajapati, Managing Director of Akshar Cashew and Lakshmi International. I am a mechanical engineering by qualification. I started the journey in 2010 from Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Tanzania, Indonesia, and Nigeria. Incorporated in the year 2008, Akshar Cashew Industries and Lakshmi International Ahmedabad has become a prominent name for wholesaling, exporting, supplying, importing a wide assortment of raw cashew and trading in cashew kernels. Backed by a team of dynamic and young professionals, we have been into the specified domain. We carry out our process in complete the international quality standards and high hygiene levels. As a result, we bring forth cashew that are regarded for their fresh taste and high nutritional value. Our processing infrastructure is advanced and well developed, helping us in streamlining our operations and providing excellent quality products in food safe packaging. Our cashew kernels in stringently tested on various parameters to ensure its flawless taste and longer shelf life. To enhance their experience of conducting business with us, we offer our customers favorable business terms. Production of cashew in Benin. There is never a year when exporters of cashew nuts in Benin are able to meet up with the demand of cashew nuts from importers buyers. This is the single reason that makes cashew business a lucrative venture for any potential investors. Coming to Benin cashew crop, harvesting of raw cashew start in February and it is commercially available during March, April and May. Cashew is product in almost every part of Benin. Important production centers are Parakou, Bante, Save, Agona, Basila, Jagu, Endali, etc. Main thing is Parakou state has the largest concentration of cashew in Benin. In my estimate, Parakou produced about 80,000 tons cashew every year. Based on the assessment of processors, Benin has one of the best cashew nut across West Africa. Within Benin, Bante and Save are believed to produce best quality cashews. Usually, the first crop of this region yields about 50 lbs in this year, has a nut count between 170 to 180 maximum and good whiteness. Bante cashew production is estimated at around 30,000 to 40,000 tons. The cashew from Bante usually fetches a premium and commands the highest price in Benin cashew market. It is never rejected by buyers. The quality can be attributed to soil quality and weather factors. One of the objectives set by the government is to increase raw cashew nut production from 1,35,000 metric ton in 2015 to 3 lakh tons by 2021. Now, let me give some information on the supply chain. The, the main source of cashew supply is the local buying agents. They source it directly from the farmers at this stage. Let me move to supply and demand for cashew season 2021. Based on our estimate, more than 1 lakh tons have come to Cotonou. Of these, about 50,000 tons have moved to Vietnam, and another about 50,000 tons have moved to India. Quality of the first crop range between 47 lbs and 50 lbs in this year. Nut count maximum 185 per kg. The KOR for the second crop dropped to 42 to 46 lbs. Coming to price for the season, the farm gate price started at 380 CFR and gradually went up to as high as 530 CFR. Average CNF India price during the year range between USD $1,200 to $1,300 per metric ton. Some questions. Why did the price increase so steeply? So local village people think like this. If they see any white or Indian come for buying cashew in villages, they increase the price at once. Couple of points on logistics and shipping. At the start of the season, everything was okay, but toward the end of the season, some shipping companies are delaying due to the heavy workload, many holidays. Usually, it takes about 35 to 45 days of selling times to India and Vietnam. Coming to freight rates, it varies with shipping line, your volumes, and your bargaining power. Typical rates for 20 feet container is USD $950, and 40 feet is USD I think 1250 for India. Availability, farm gate availability is dropping. Local market price currently is between CFR 520 to 530 CFR. That would correspond to $1,250 in India. I hope I have been able to provide you with some useful information on the Benin cashew market for 2021 season. I truly thank all of you for listening to me. I deeply thankful for the special, unique, amazing people in my life who support me, comfort me, and bring joy to my soul as they share a piece of their own in the precise magical moment it needed to happen. My being truly love yours. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Sanjay. It was a very elaborate presentation. You have touched upon almost all the aspects very clearly, and thanks for giving these numbers. Couple of questions which comes in my mind is that how much of this year crop has gone to processing? Any guesstimate? How much has gone for the local processes or local processing?
Sir, local processor, I don't know, but I think this year crop is near around 1.3 lakh metric tons.
So you are saying about 1 lakh has already come to Cotonou, means around 30,000 is
Yes,
still
yes, yes.
remaining?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, still remaining. But quality is down now.
What is the average quality in your opinion? 46?
Average quality is
Right now, what is
47,
available?
48. Right now, 41 to 45 in between. I see.
So a general tendency of people to ask is that for that quality, why the farm gate price or the local price, what you have said, is so high? What is the reason?
Yes, reason I could not understand, but in this year, really market is very high.
The expectation is high.
Yes, yes, acceptation is high, very.
Okay. Okay. Any other challenges right now? What you see on the ground, or because I was thinking initially people were expecting 1,50,000 to 1,60,000,
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
there is a you say there is a decrease from the initial estimate, the production.
Oh. Now in this year increase, production is increased.
Okay. Because last year it was around, what was last year's production?
Last year, I think 2 lakh, near around 2 lakh metric tons, and in this year 3 lakh metric tons.
Okay.
Increase. The government is to increase zero cashew nut production.
Okay. Okay. And you have said that one, how much has gone to Vietnam so far? exported to Vietnam so far?
Near around 50 to 70,000 metric tons.
Has gone to
I hope.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. There will be more questions. Like, I request you to stay on. We will
Okay.
come back during the question answer session after listening to Mr.
Okay.
Alok Bhargava on Burkina Faso. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay. Please stay on.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
That was a very interesting presentation from Mr. Sanjay. I'm seeing some questions. I'll wait for more questions so that we can club them and take it towards the end. But before we take the Q&A from all of you, I would request the third speaker, Mr. Alok Bhargava, to brief us about what is happening in the raw cashew trade in Burkina Faso in 2021. Before I invite him, a brief introduction about Mr. Alok Bhargava. He's a chartered accountant from Rajasthan, India. He started his career as a financial controller in 1995 with a leading company in Tanzania. In 1996, he entered into commodities trading, the fascinating world of commodity trading, and that took him all across extensively through Africa for the next 10 years. In 2005, he shifted to Dubai and joined an MNC as a director to expand its business, commodities business across Africa and later to Russia and Canada. In 2016, he started his own company, Praram Agri Trading DMCC, and he is inspiring a small but a very, very focused and dedicated team with his knowledge and experience. And the company deals in cashew, sesame, pulses from Africa, Canada, and Russia. Mr. Alok Bhargava is a highly sought after speaker for this extremely incisive analysis on the market in various global conferences. In 2018, he has been conferred with an award as by the Indian External Affairs as a best. His company has been bestowed with an award as an emerging MSME business by and he himself has been conferred an award as an outstanding NRA businessman in 2018. So that's in short for you about Mr. Alok Bhargava, and over to you, sir, for your presentation on Burkina Faso.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, at the onset, I would like to thank cashewinfo.com for giving me the opportunity to be a speaker in one of its initiative, which I feel is very good, this Trade Talk series. And of course, I sincerely wish all the members of the West for the whatever season is being left. West Africa is almost finished, but East Africa will start soon. Next slide. In my presentation, what I have tried to cover is estimated production for the current year, the quality of Burkina Faso, exports and FOB price trends, logistics and government policies, and of course, disclaimer. Next slide. As far as the production is concerned, the estimated production is about 100,000 ton. And approximately, out of this 100,000 ton, approximately 75 to 80K normally moves to either Tema or to Loma in Togo for the further shipments to Vietnam, India, or China in all the cases. And approximately 10,000, around 10,000 ton is processed locally per annum. And there are very small, but 15 active processing units down there. And Burkina Faso region cashew stocks as of now is almost over, but there are some inflows because the Burkina border touches with Mali, it touches with Guinea Conakry, it touches with IVC, it touches with Ghana. So still we are seeing some of the inflows coming from all these places, Mali and especially Guinea Conakry region, and something from IVC wherever the price differences is there. Next slide. And as far as the quality is concerned, in this season, the cashew season is started end of Feb, and it is still continuing. As I told you, the small quantities are still coming from the border area as well as from the Burkina itself. And for the first crop, the normal outturn it started with 48, and nut count below 200. That first crop went from February to March, and the second crop started around mid-April, and we have seen the second crop outturn started with 46, and nut count remains almost below 200. It remains the same in both the crop. However, we have seen there was a huge inflow of high nut count cashews from IVC and Mali, which slowly led into the decrease in the quality. So at present, the market crop of mixed cargo with multiple origin and with lower outturn in the sense it is now between 42 to 44, which is coming, and the higher nut count to the range of 210 to 200, around 210 you can see, which is coming now on the market. And the same holds for the major points. The major supply points in Burkina are three: the Bobo Dioulasso and the Banfora region, and third one is Oradora region. Next slide. And as far as the exports and FOB price trends are concerned, this season we have seen these sales started around $1,050 approximately, basis 48 outturn. And in the April end, during the second half of the April, we have seen that these prices moved up to as high as 1150, 47, 48 basis still. And then afterwards, we have seen a little bit drop. And I think the present Burkina, if you see for the 47 basis, it's around between 1110 to 1130, depending on whether it's a Vietnam is a buyer or the India is a buyer. And the prices which I have indicated here is basis 48 outturn and 200 nut counts, maximum 200 nut count basis. And as far as the movement of rock cashew nut is concerned, I feel that almost 70 to 80% has been moved out of Burkina, and it is either in transit to both the port, Tema and Lome, or it is under stuffing. Next slide, please. And as far as the logistic issues are concerned, Burkina Faso, as you all know, is a landlocked country. So 100% of the cargo which has to be transported to either Lome or Tema, where of course the cargo is loaded in containers and being stuffed and sent to the various market destination. And this year we have seen significant challenges with the road transportation between Burkina and the stuffing ports. And the main reason what we have seen was there was a disagreement between the Togo and Burkina Faso transporters union. Then there was a increase in the transport price by transporters. Then we have seen in between there was a strike by drivers union for the increase in salary or higher pay. And of course, due to COVID-19, this time we have seen even the jute bags. There was a shortage of jute bags because of the disruption on imports of jute bag, which have seen even the jute bags cost went as far as, it went to double as far as this season is concerned. Next slide, please. And in the government policies, I would just like to mention one thing. This year, there has been a proposal by the Exporter Association of Burkina Faso to the government to reduce exportation taxes. But we have not seen much responses from the government, except they have assured that the proposal they will study and assist. I think this could be one of the reasons that this year we have not seen any fall in the prices as such at the origin, whether it is Benin or even in Burkina, we have not seen any fall in the prices. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just a disclaimer. And with this, I end my presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alok, for a very detailed presentation, I would say, on an origin like which is sometimes not well understood. Maybe because it is small relative to maybe IBC, but thanks for giving the clarity. You did mention about the export tax. Can you give a sense of what is the number like? What is the export tax currently, which is on raw cashews from Burkina?
It's around $30. It works out to around $30 a ton.
$30 a ton. And is there a tax on kernels as well?
Uh, I don't think so. Don't know actually, but I
Okay.
can check. But I feel this is basically the export tax is anything you are exporting. So, but I've not seen any export tax on kernel. But I feel since this is a tax on exports, maybe there is a tax.
And any comments on how much of the cargo has moved to Vietnam in this season? Is there any kind of estimates we want to give?
It's difficult to know because there are two ports involved,
Okay.
for one origin. And in fact, the cargo which is going to Togo mostly because of this new Fasai rule, it has been shipped out as Togo origin. So,
Okay.
on the paper, you never see Burkina origin coming out, unless it is going to Vietnam, they accept as Burkina origin. But Indian shipment, what I have seen is going as a Togo origin, not as a on papers, not as a Burkina origin. So, but still, I feel almost 40 to 50% must have been moved. 40% must have been moved to Vietnam and balanced to Indian markets.
Okay. That's so because why I did ask about this taxation because you did mention sometimes the cargoes move from IVC to Burkina.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the tax reason is what I feel because the pricing also what you have indicated, these price levels are slightly lower than what we hear as the typical prevailing price at this point in time in the
Yes.
neighboring countries. So it could be a lower tax impact as well as why I asked and I wanted that clarity on that one. Sure, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And I think is there a question for you? You said maximum nut count is 200 maximum. That's right, sir.
Yeah. Yes. That's right.
And today, 47 LBS is between 1110 to
Yeah,
1130.
1110 to 1130. That's the offer in the market.
Mhm.
And but to get 47 is at present very rare. The whatever quality which is coming now is between 40 to 44. But unfortunately, the origin prices has not gone down. This is a typical problem in all origin of Africa. Even in Nigeria, we have seen this. The quality went down from 52 to 47, but the prices never went down. For
Okay.
them it's cashew nut. They don't go, they don't supply. I mean, the farmers don't supply, or they don't price the cashew on quality basis. That you have to calculate and see how you can manage it. So even Ogomosho, when it was 42, there was one price, and the same price, in fact, it went up for 46 and 47. So that is how happened in Burkina as well. As the market started with 375 sefa when the auction was 48, and now it is running around 425 and 430. And one
Yeah.
thing I forgot to mention in this is, the currency also play a major role in Burkina. The currency,
Sure.
it keep fluctuating from 540 to 560 per dollar, sefa per
Yeah.
dollar. So
Yeah.
the costing keep changing, and farmer doesn't change according to the currency or according to the quality. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's a big issue for most of the francophone countries,
Yes.
where the currency is linked to euro,
Yeah.
and there is, but still, I think 540, 560 is still it's a reasonable region. I think, sometimes to work
Yeah,
with.
that's only for the cashew I mentioned. If I include the whole season, sesame and cashew, it
Uh,
fluctuated between 520 to 565.
okay, that's a big
Yeah.
region. Yeah, that's. Thank you so much, sir. Please be with us as we start the question answer. I have a couple of questions already. Let me start with Mr. Jace Rabe. There is a question in the chat box about the total processing which happens in Benin. Any guess which you wanted to any number you wanted to throw at that?
Yeah, that's a tough one, but I would say if you take Tolero and Fludor, Afocatan and Africa Negos, the four, I'm going to say it's probably in the neighborhood of 20,000 metric tons, of which Fludor and Tolero would be the largest.
Okay.
Would be the largest.
Okay. Any new projects coming coming up? We heard ETG is coming. That is one confirmed news which we got. Any other projects which we are seeing it coming?
No. I mean, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk, but we really haven't seen any groundbreaking or any real visible signs of processing. I mean, every year you get a lot of talk. So until I start seeing groundbreaking and confirmed reports that buildings are going up, I'm always skeptical.
Okay, one question related to what aspect Mr. Sanjay talked about government's intention to increase the production of raw seeds from 130,000 to 300,000. You are there on the ground. Do you see actions, plans, initiatives on the ground towards that? Any comment on that?
Yeah, no, definitely we see activity with an increased production. Personally, I think the goal of 300,000 is unrealistic. I don't think the infrastructure is here to grow to 300,000 metric tons that quickly. I think over probably a 10-year period, that's very doable. There's definite activity to encourage farmers with new plantings, but I also think that there's a lot of infrastructure that is missing to make that happen.
Right, sir. Right now, I have this many questions for you. Thank you so much for clarity. If there are any more questions, stay with us for 10 more minutes. So we will be back. Mr. Sanjay, one quick question to you from the chat. We have always seen because of the higher price Benin commands, there's a lot of cross-border movement, especially from Nigeria. Can you put some numbers on this season? How much of material has come to Benin crossing the border? Just guess some numbers.
Nigeria, near around 20,000.
Okay, so 20,000 has come from Nigeria is what you say?
I guess, not exactly.
Okay. All right. So basically, if I have to put, that means 130,000 Benin zone crop this season, and about 15 to 20,000 tons from Nigeria crossing. Is that a realistic number which
Yes.
you want to put? Okay. And of that, given what Mr. J said, an estimated local processing requirement is about 20,000 tons, let's say, is a local processing requirement. So
Yes,
that leaves
exactly.
us out of 140 to 50,000 tons, that 20 you take it out, that's about 120,000 tons. And you are saying that one about 100,000 tons or 1 lakh tons is already moved out either to India or Vietnam. Maybe about 15 to 20,000 tons is remaining. Am I right in
Yes.
just putting?
Yes, right.
Okay. That pretty much sums up, like, what we have to say on Benin at this point in time. I would also, like, open up any speaker, any delegate wants to, like, share any comments. They can show, they can raise your hands, like, we can give you an opportunity to express your thoughts. We have about 5 to 10 minutes left, and if any of you want to give or pass specific comments on Benin and Burkina, you are most free to share your thoughts and opinion. Please press the show of hand. We will give you an opportunity. Right. So now I'll come to Mr. Alok Bhargava. Like, sir, like, you are when you are marketing Burkina, like, typically how the pricing happens, because means like how is it, like, because we know Benin is preferred in India, and therefore, like, it goes by different sentiments. Like, Nigeria has got certain set of clients very specifically, like, they're comfortable with that. But we have seen Nigeria always going at a discount to IBC, $80 to $100.
Yes.
Now, how is the pricing for Burkina normally happens? Any like, thing what you have observed on the ground is what I wanted to ask.
My observation and my way of working is, I base my Burkina prices normally on Nigerian prices. How much difference is there between Ogomosho and Kogi. So we go by Kogi prices. If Kogi prices in a market is around, just for example's sake, is around 1200 or 1180 basis 50 out ton, then Burkina normally we offer almost $80 less, but obviously with two out ton less. So that's how we normally often, because in Burkina we have seen there are specific buyers who are interested in taking Burkina cargo. Not many, not everyone takes the cargo as such, and for their specific requirement or for their specific choice of Burkina, that is how we have seen the market developing. In fact, sometimes we have seen the demand of Burkina is, as you said, Nigeria is always at discount. So we have seen Burkina demand sometimes is coming more as far as Nigeria, if you compare with Nigeria. That's what we have seen there.
Yeah, there is some irrationality in this one, because, like, actually speaking, Nigeria quality sometimes could be better than IBC quality, but still it may go for discount.
Yes.
Just the way you have mentioned that one, like, between the first crop and the second crop, like, you have seen the prices going up, whereas the quality coming down. Yeah.
But this year we have seen Ogomosho quality coming out very good, and we have seen Ogomosho fetching better prices than any other origin at the prevailing time.
Okay. One comment from the chat box is that they wanted you to kindly reconfirm the export tax number. What you said earlier, you have quoted $30.
No, it is 25 CFA, which if you divide by today's exchange will work out around between $40 to $45 a ton. That's the official rate there. 25 CFA per kilo.
Okay, and one more question which has come is that, does Burkina enjoy the LDC status when it comes to export?
Normally for the LDC, that is the reason I told you that all the Burkina cargo, when it is going to India, is shipped as a Togo origin, because Togo as an LDC country is more acceptable in India rather than any other. That's the thing.
Okay. So from the paperwork point of view, it is through Togo. It is shown as Togo origin.
Yes, but when it is going to Vietnam, it doesn't make any difference. So it is going as a Burkina origin down there. For them, it is no difference.
But in Vietnam, there is tax, right? There is a 5% tax, or on, I don't know. I think there is a tax, but nobody pays it because there is an export 275 days or something like that.
Yeah, they have.
If you re-export, then, like,
re-export.
Yeah, within that period, then you don't need to actually, like, you're not under the obligation to pay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anybody, I think anybody wants to speak? Let me just check. There is a show of hand from Sivasai Jami. Mohan, can you please let him speak?
Yes, sir. I unmuted him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please tell me.
The quality of Benin last year was very good. And the 1 year last year, that is 2019, it was much of spotted. What is the condition for this year?
What is the quality of cashew for this year? I think Mr. Jace Rabe, who is the processor, and he has also said he has started processing from February. So I think he would be more hands-on. Mr. Jace, would you like to address this question? How has been the quality of cashew from Benin this year, especially from the point of view of spotted?
Yeah, so we had last year, we noticed a much larger spotted percentage. This year, it's returned back to what numbers were like in 2019. Quality average for us has been right around 48. And peeling has actually been easier here than we've seen in previous years. I'm unsure of why. But that's what we've noticed for the last 2 months. So a lot less percentage of spotted. So you should be happy this year with Benin quality.
That's a good news, actually. So you're saying this year the issue of spotted is much lesser than what you had seen last year. That's good. One other observation, because you are a processor, do you buy from all states? Because Sanjay said some comments he made about Bante and Save and all, like, considered to be better, and therefore people, especially exporters, paying more price. Do you see as a processor at origin, like, any difference either in varieties or, like, in yields, like, between these two cashews from these two states?
Yes, I mean, Bonte Save, Savalu area we noticed has a little bit better KOR. But in general, I would say overall, we're happy and see similar results across Benin. We buy within a 100-kilometer radius of our factory. So we touch down to the Savalu area. You have a lot more competition in that area. So we tend to let everybody else fight over that area and we buy elsewhere.
Okay. Just a couple of minutes are left, but I would want you to stay with us for a minute because you are doing a very unique program on engagement with the farmers. Briefly, can you just share about, like, what you are doing with the farmers?
Yeah, sure. So we have a little over 7,000 farmers in our network. We focus on increasing their yields, increasing quality, partnering with farmers on doing pre-harvest and post-harvest practices in their orchards. As I mentioned earlier, the infrastructure in this country is very limited in terms of storage, limited in terms of access to financing for farmers to take care of their orchards and have good orchard maintenance. So we work with our farmers in those regards. At this point in time, we do very little in terms of like high yielding varieties and hybrid and grafting varieties. We focus on the local varieties, the wild crop origins, and work with our farmers to increase their per tree yields. So that's really the focus and drive that we've done. Wow, we've been working with our farmers since 2012, so the last 8 years.
What's the size of, like, what is the kind of yields you get per tree? Like,
Our best farmers, based on the wild crop variety, our best farmers are getting about 7 kg per tree.
That's very good. I think, like, it's for the wide variety, like, I think it's because normally it's around 3-4 kgs, like, and then that's very good. 70,000 farmers is very impressive. All the best to you. And 2012 onwards, it's almost going to be 10 years. I think, like, it's a way to go in developing a sustainable chain. Thank you so much. And we go back to Mr. Sivasai Jami for one more question because he has raised his hands.
Yeah, this is a general request. that in the RBS report, the quality assurance SGS or RBS, we always focus on the outer size and some rejections. But if we expand the much more feel like the surface smoothness or the color, we have to add that so that we can know the quality much more better. This may be not the correct forum, but the processors are anxious to know about the surface quality and the color. It has to be included in the report.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. I've taken note of this, but I think CEPC and Vinacas are the people who are setting, along with of course ACA is also ACA and Cashew on the African side. They are looking at these issues, but we can suggest them as your suggestion or suggestions from the processes. So thank you for your suggestion. Any more questions? Otherwise, we will. I think there is no more question. So I would like each of the distinguished speakers to kindly give your concluding remarks in a minute, starting with Mr. Alok Bhargava. Over to you, sir.
I would just say thank you very much for organizing these kind of trade talks. It will certainly help industry. And of course, the right time is when the season is on, because in West Africa now almost the season is finishing. So I just feel that it should be in the middle of the, when it is a middle of the season, then probably the whole industry will be more benefited.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sanjay, any concluding thoughts from your side?
Really, sir, I thank you so much. I highly appreciated your cooperation, sir. And thank you so much for inviting me on Trade Talk. Again, thanks a lot. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you. And before I invite Mr. Jays, there is one more show of hand, Sashi Shekhar. Mohan, can you just unmute? So let us hear him as well. We have a minute time, and then we will go to Mr. Jays.
My name is Sashi. I'm CEO of Nanopex. We'd like to basically get some clue of how the processing is getting trended in Benin and Burkina Faso in the next 2-3 years.
Processing, Jays Rabe has covered quite extensively. There are 4 processes. Cumulatively, it's about 20,000 tons per year is an estimation about the processing. And Tolero along with Fludor are the 2 largest processors at this point in time. This year ETG has put this factory, and I think they would get operational this year or late this year or maybe next year. That's what is on the field, which is there. Any further information, I would request Mr. Jays to please address this question as well as your concluding remarks, sir.
No, that's a good summary. I don't know today. I don't know of any other projects that are planned to come into Benin. Like I said, we talked about this earlier. You hear rumors every year, but none of them ever seem to materialize. So I know ETG is probably the most likely to come on board. I think that'll probably be in 2022. But I don't have any other information about additional processors.
And your final words?
Would you say?
1 minute concluding remark from your side, sir, before we close.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I'm encouraged by the cash industry. I want to encourage everybody that's in it, that hopefully we're going to more stable times. I'm definitely praying for everybody in India. We understand what's going on over there with COVID, and just want to encourage everybody to stay safe and be well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, we come to the end of this straight talk on Benin and Burkina. We thank all the three speakers, starting with Mr. J.S. Rabe, President, Tolero Global, Benin, and Universal Commodities, USA, and Mr. Sanjay Prajapati, who's the MD of Akshar Cashew Industries and Lakshmi International, and Mr. Alok Bhargava, Praram Agri Trading DMCC. For each one of them, they have taken the time, and in a short notice, they have given us a very neat update about what's happening in the market and the opportunity it presents. And thank you all for registering and being with us. Hope to see you next week. We would discuss on Ivory Coast next week. And please stay tuned for thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll keep the discussion forum open for another 10 minutes so that if you want to do your networking, you can continue with that. Thank you.